How to write a research proposal. Introduction. An attractively prepared research proposal is crucial for achieving sufficient resources to conduct a successful project or study. Funding agencies that sponsor research use a proposal as the basis for making their funding decisions. Some agencies request a two-step proposal. The first is a brief plan of the project, and, when accepted, a more detailed proposal has to be submitted. Funding agencies often supply an application kit that includes the forms to be completed and a specific format for organizing the content of the proposal. The Ethics Committee requires a research plan to be able to judge whether the intended project is ethically acceptable. There is considerable similarity in the type of information that is expected in research proposals, and in this article we will describe several of these important aspects of writing a research proposal. Synopsis. Proposal often begins with a summarized overview of the proposed research project. It should not be more than one full page stating the study objectives, sample and size, methods to be used, duration and evaluation methods. Background to the problem. In the background section of the proposal, the researcher should make the reader aware of what has already been done and what is already known in the area. A description of how the literature search and assessment has been performed is important, as the result should be what the intended research is built upon and provide justification for the present study. It should strengthen the author's argument concerning the significance of the study, and point out how the proposed research will augment that knowledge and why this is important. Not all studies result in an immediate product or change of praxis, but may constitute a little brick in the building of something bigger, which hopefully is supported by the funding agency. The problem that the intended research will address is ordinarily identified early in the proposal and should be stated in such a way that its importance is apparent to the reviewer, although the researcher should not promise more than can be produced. The background should demonstrate the researcher's command of current knowledge in the field, forming a logical reason ending in the research question. A broad and complex problem is unlikely to be solvable or manageable and is likely to be deemed unethical to conduct. If relevant, include the possible theory applicable in the field so that the intended study can be put into a research context. Whenever the theoretical backgrounds of the study, existing knowledge, or the researcher's experience permit an explicit prediction of outcomes, these predictions should be included in the proposal. Significance of the problem. The proposal must clearly describe how the proposed research will make a contribution to existing knowledge and why it is important. Funding bodies are interested in developing knowledge based in particular areas and not in the researcher's personal journey or general curiosity. The proposal should indicate the expected generalizability of the research, its contribution to theory, possible applications or consequences of the knowledge to be gained, and its potential of improving nursing practice and patient care. Research objectives. Specific, achievable objectives provide the reader with clear criteria against which the proposed research can be assessed, and this section should be kept short and clear. Statement of a research hypothesis or specific model to be tested is preferable as it can be defined as true or false. The outcome variables should be clearly defined as primary and secondary objectives, measuring the appropriate items. Research questions. It can help the reader to identify which variables are going to be measured. First, the questions should be relevant when judged in relation to the introduction and the objectives. Second, the questions must be researchable and answerable using appropriate research methods. Thus, the approach suggested by the research questions adds something new to the knowledge base. A systematic review of different research questions is an important part of the planning process. If this is carried out carefully, time and money will be saved in future and ensure that the study is sustainable and can be performed within the given time frame. Research methods. The explanation of the intended research methods should be sufficiently thorough to ensure that the reader will have no doubt about how the research objectives will be addressed. The rationale for the method chosen must also be made apparent. First, the study design should be presented: descriptive, cross-sectional, longitudinal, or randomized controlled trial. Second, a clear description of the sampling plan and the number of participants to be included should be provided. The number of participants should be justified statistically, as should the method of randomization. In this section, describe the method of recruitment of participants. If the method encompasses an experimental design, a statistical power analysis must be carried out to demonstrate the ability of the research design to detect relationships between variables. A power analysis determines the minimum number of samples that need be included in order to achieve a true difference between the groups. Third, a thorough methods section should include a description of the instruments to be used in the study. For example, questionnaires, specific procedures such as programs for patient education, or equipment. Copies of questionnaires should accompany the proposal. Data collection and analytical strategies such as data management and method of interpretation to be used after collection of data should be described. Potential methodological problems and intended strategies for dealing with such problems need to be discussed in this section. Finally, in order to ensure that the study is proceeding according to plan, the monitoring process to be performed should be described. Timeframe. There never seems to be sufficient time for the perfect study to be conducted, but in order to facilitate the study to proceed, it is helpful to state a realistic deadline for the completion of the study, some deadlines for the milestones of the study such as ethics committee submission deadline, and to make allowance for delays if the committee requests further information. Also state a deadline when data collection should be completed, when the report should be finalized. An example of a timeline is given in Table 1. This enables the funding agency to judge the value of the money requested for this particular study. They might have an interest in getting certain information from the study before a certain date. Table 1. Example of a timetable adapted from Handbook for Clinical Investigators. Budget. The funding requested must be justifiable in relation to the information to be derived from the study. The budget is judged in relation to the kind of application made, whether the project is long-term or short-term, or an application for planning time. For example, consumables, software, cost of shipping and postage, staff, equipment, localities, reimbursement to participants, medical investigations, laboratory analysis, time for analyzing and presentation of the results, including travel expenses and conference fees, and application fees. Conclusion. The written research proposal represents the means for opening communication between researchers and parties interested in supporting the conduct of research. Those parties may be funding agencies, faculty advisors, or institutional offices. An accepted proposal is a two-way contract. Those accepting the proposal say that, "We are willing to offer financial support as long as the investigation proceeds as proposed," and those writing the proposal are saying, "If you will offer support, then I will conduct the project as proposed." Finally, the proposal document should be as attractive as possible. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel Thesis Helper. Thanks for watching.